So, hello.
Yes.
With the with this pandemic, I'm doing a lot more just being, but it doesn't always feel that exciting. And it actually sometimes it's kind of dull. And so I wish that I would have a technique or something suggestion on how to use this opportunity in a better way than feeling bored.
It's interesting. I wonder what could be boring about this moment. Hmm. It's so dynamic and so amazing just to know that you are. I can't imagine anything more enlightening than that. You have just aligned yourself with your thoughts so much that you think that what you think is interesting. But really, how interesting are your thoughts? In this moment, there's everything. Everything is right here and now. In your thoughts, there is something. Something is always much smaller than everything. Ooh, but you're accustomed to it, and you're used to it, and you identify with it. You see? But that, what you want to do is, you're basically having the experience of being, and you're interpreting it through your mind, and your mind goes, so? And then you go, so? So basically what this is, what you're suffering from is personal identification, which tells you that something is more interesting than everything. Okay? But in fact, everything is everything. And the problem with it is that the mind can't go there because it's everything and it's too big for the mind. So the mind finds it uninteresting and boring. Okay? And as long as the connection is there with the mind, then you follow that and you start going, so I'm bored. Okay? So all this is a reminder. You know, you can sit in nature, you can be in the forest, you can be out just in nature and there's nothing there really. There's just the breeze and the wind, and you lose your thoughts and you just take in the awesomeness of everything where you are. And that's fine. You don't go, oh, this woods is boring. I want to go back to my room and think about shit. So take it in like that. This is like a new walk through nature, just to be still and take in the oneness that is you. The oneness that is probably a better way to put it. The oneness that is. Just be with that. And when the mind comes in and says this is boring, you can just look at that mind and go, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Of course, that's just the mind again, but still, all it is you are accustomed to your thoughts and feelings, and all they've brought you all of your life is suffering. You're used to that suffering. so it feels safe and familiar. But beyond that suffering, beyond that sense of limitation, that sense of me, there is everything. And everything is in this very moment, right here, right now. When the mind stops, what is left is this very moment, right here, right now. And it's awesome. It is totally awesome. Just breathe it in. Be with it as long as you can. And know that this space of here and now is just not the mind's cup of tea. The mind likes this and that. The mind doesn't like everything because the mind can't even go there. In fact, everything exists in your awareness with the absence of your thoughts. So when your thoughts come up again, you ask yourself, who cares? Find that answer and stop caring about the one who cares. And just be in the space, you see? This is what I was talking about last talk. There's a process of remembering. You remember who you are, and you learn to recognize that which you are not. And in that process of remembering who you are not arises, and you recognize it for what it is and return to remembering. So you see, when you are simply being, when you are simply in that space of being, there's peace. Not much to say about it because it's everything. When nothing comes up and says, this is boring, you want to ask yourself, well, who cares? Who cares about this? Who cares about it being boring? You see, because everything just is. Everything just is. And the mind is just trying to test to see if it still has you in its grasp. So the mind grabs the attention to itself, you see. Because that's what minds do. They try and make themselves the center of your attention because they just think they're so goddamn important. But when you've really, really touched that sense of I am, when you've really rested in the peace of unconditional love, somehow this idea of me becomes less and less of an attraction, and it diminishes and is unable to grab the attention. It may try. It may bring up fear. It might bring up, hey, this is boring. And if it can grab you, then it's happy. The mind is very, very happy. And you are suffering. And you're very, very sad. It's a double-edged sword, the ego. So just when you forget, you remember. So when the mind comes in and goes, hey, this is boring, ask yourself who cares and make sure that you're not connecting with the one who cares, you see? And then it doesn't matter what the mind says. Doesn't matter what the mind thinks. Doesn't matter what the mind feels. It doesn't matter. None of it matters because it's got nothing to do with you. that place of everything, that place of connectivity with everything, that is who you are. That is what is. And who you are really isn't a good term for it because it implies a you. But that is what is. And I could say that's your home. That's where you came from. That's where you're going. And that's where you are. So let the mind try and tempt you back into its ways. See it for what it is. And just remember. Don't forget. And when you forget, just remember. Always remember that essence. Always remember. Always return back home. Eventually, you won't have to remember because you'll never forget. And when you don't forget, you don't have to put any energy into remembering. Prior to that, there's a bit of a process that can go on that may be helpful to bring more peace into your life. And even if it never succeeds fully, what you'll find is that your life is more peaceful. So that's always something worthwhile.